Imagine waking up one morning to discover that the very agency responsible for safeguarding the medicines in your cabinet, the agency that determines whether a groundbreaking cancer drug or a revolutionary gene-editing therapy will ever reach your loved ones, is facing its most profound crisis in living memory. This is not the plot of a dystopian thriller. It is the current reality confronting the United States Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, and its tremors could reshape the trajectory of global healthcare, innovation, and your own well-being for generations to come. So, what is actually happening beneath the surface at the FDA, and why should you care? To grasp the magnitude of this crisis, we need to rewind and examine the astonishing acceleration of biomedical innovation in recent years. The biotechnology industry is advancing at a pace once thought impossible, with new therapies, technologies, and scientific breakthroughs emerging almost every month. Let's start with a remarkable development: the recent approval of Ekterly, an oral therapy from KalVista Pharmaceuticals, designed for hereditary angioedema. This rare and often devastating disorder causes unpredictable, excruciating swelling attacks that can strike anywhere in the body, sometimes even threatening a person's airway. For decades, patients were forced to rely on invasive injections or infusions, often administered in emergency rooms during moments of sheer terror. Ekterly changes this paradigm by offering a simple pill, a leap forward that restores dignity and independence to those living with this condition. Dr. Mark Riedel, a leading clinical immunologist, notes, "Oral on-demand therapy like Ekterly gives patients greater autonomy and control over their lives." But Ekterly is just one example in an ocean of innovation. Consider Cogent Biosciences, which recently reported eye-opening results from its Phase 3 Summit trial of bezuclastinib, a treatment targeting indolent systemic mastocytosis, a confounding immune disorder that triggers allergic reactions, neurological symptoms, chronic fatigue, and even relentless pain. The trial achieved an 87.4% reduction in serum tryptase levels, a biomarker directly linked to disease severity. For many, this represents not just hope, but a potential lifeline. The momentum in the biotech sector is attracting major investment. Cogent Biosciences secured a debt facility worth $350 million to fund future research and development, signaling strong investor confidence in precision medicine's promise. Meanwhile, KalVista has launched KalVista Cares, a support initiative to ensure patients have access to their new therapy, highlighting the growing role of patient-centric programs in the industry. Yet, as innovation accelerates, the journey is anything but smooth. Jasper Therapeutics, another ambitious biotech player, is battling significant manufacturing setbacks with its experimental drug, briquilimab. A single flaw in the cell culture process compromised the drug's potency, casting doubt over the reliability of ongoing clinical trials. The stakes are enormous. Briquilimab is being studied not only for chronic spontaneous urticaria, but also for severe asthma and eosinophilic esophagitis. A setback here could delay relief for patients with few, if any, alternatives. These stories, each a fusion of hope, risk, and scientific tenacity, rely on a central player, the FDA. This agency stands as the vigilant gatekeeper, meticulously sifting through mountains of clinical data, scrutinizing every trial, and determining which innovations are safe and effective for the public. The FDA is the bridge between laboratory discovery and the pharmacy shelf. However, as headlines celebrate new discoveries, few realize that the FDA itself is under siege. Over the past decade, and especially in recent years, the agency has faced blow after blow. The most dramatic, a mass exodus of highly skilled staff, triggered by political turbulence and sweeping budget cuts during the Trump administration. In a single month, approximately 1 in every 5 FDA employees was pushed out. This is not a typo. 20% of the workforce gone almost overnight, taking with them decades of priceless experience. Peter Pitts, a former FDA official, sounded a stark warning. Staff reductions risk dangerous delays in drug approvals and can even compromise patient safety. The effects of this brain drain are still reverberating. Recruitment lags behind departures, and the erosion of institutional knowledge is palpable. Inside the FDA, morale has hit unprecedented lows. Interviews with current and former employees reveal a culture of exhaustion, anxiety, and uncertainty. Many staff members feel trapped between the relentless pace of scientific advancement, mounting pressure from innovative biotech firms, and the shifting winds of political scrutiny. As one veteran reviewer put it, We are being asked to do more with less, and ultimately, it is patients who pay the price. But the crisis at the FDA is not limited to staffing. Budget cuts loom ominously. The Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, the backbone of new medicine approvals, faces the prospect of a 15% funding reduction by the year 2026. Picture asking an already overburdened emergency room to operate with fewer doctors, fewer nurses, and outdated equipment, right as a new pandemic emerges. That is the scale of the challenge. Meanwhile, the complexity of the products arriving at the FDA's door has exploded. We are no longer talking about just pills or vaccines. Today's pipeline includes genetically engineered cell therapies, personalized cancer vaccines, CRISPR-based gene editing treatments, and cutting-edge synthetic biology products that blur the line between living systems and technology. Each of these requires not only specialized scientific expertise, but also entirely new regulatory processes and ways of thinking. A leading industry analyst captured the dilemma. The tension between innovation and regulation has never been sharper. On one side, patients and biotech companies are demanding speed. Every month of delay can mean the difference between life and death. On the other, rushing approvals can have catastrophic consequences. Dangerous side effects, unforeseen complications, product recalls, or even the withdrawal of a once promising drug from the market. Already, the FDA's internal crisis is rippling across the healthcare ecosystem. Drug companies voice growing concern that shrinking review teams and mounting backlogs will translate into longer waits for approvals. For therapies targeting ultra-rare diseases, where every day counts, these delays can be devastating. Patients with hereditary angioedema, systemic mastocytosis, rare cancers, and other orphan diseases are caught in limbo, waiting for treatments that could alter the course of their lives. Take the manufacturing blunder at Jasper Therapeutics. The loss of potency in briquilimab due to a single compromised cell culture batch is precisely the type of problem rigorous FDA oversight is designed to catch early. With fewer inspectors and scientists on hand, the risk of such errors slipping through grows. Dr. John Smith, a leading manufacturing expert, emphasizes, identifying and rectifying the root cause of a manufacturing defect is paramount. Without sufficient regulatory scrutiny, patient safety is at real risk. This is not merely an American issue. For decades, the FDA has set the global gold standard for drug approvals. Its decisions reverberate across Europe, Asia, Africa, and beyond. Many countries model their own regulatory systems on the FDA's framework, learning from both its successes and failures. If the agency stumbles, the consequences could cascade worldwide, eroding public trust in the very idea of evidence-based, safe medicine. Let's dig deeper into the forces battering the FDA. Political instability, both within the United States and globally, is casting a long shadow. In America, public confidence in science and government agencies has become sharply polarized. Misinformation, conspiracy theories, and social media echo chambers make it harder than ever for the FDA to communicate clearly about risks and benefits. A single rumor can trigger panic, while legitimate warnings may go unheeded. Globally, relations between the United States and China are more strained than at any point in recent memory. The FDA faces mounting pressure to intensify scrutiny of drugs developed abroad, especially from Chinese biotech companies. On one hand, this could protect American patients from substandard products. On the other, it risks delaying access to some of the world's most innovative therapies, including cutting-edge cancer treatments and gene therapies emerging from Chinese laboratories. A recent case illustrates the dilemma. The FDA paused its review of several Chinese-developed oncology drugs over concerns about data integrity and manufacturing practices. While this move protects patients in the short term, it forces families to wait longer for potentially life-saving therapies. As global supply chains grow more tangled and fragile, the United States is scrambling to reduce reliance on foreign manufacturing. The CHIPS Act, celebrated by policymakers and industry leaders, aims to supercharge American biomanufacturing infrastructure by the year 2028. If successful, this could shield the FDA and the patients it serves from international disruptions. Yet, building this kind of domestic capacity is a marathon, not a sprint. Faced with shrinking budgets and a tsunami of complexity, could technology be the FDA's lifeline? Increasingly, the agency is betting on artificial intelligence and automation to manage the tidal wave of data pouring in from modern clinical trials. Commissioner Makary has emerged as a champion for AI-driven reviews, arguing that advanced machine learning tools can spot anomalies, flag safety signals, and accelerate the approval process without sacrificing rigor. The early results are promising. Pilot programs have shown that AI systems can analyze massive clinical data sets in a fraction of the time required by human reviewers. In a recent initiative, an AI algorithm detected potential adverse events in trial data weeks before traditional methods caught them. However, experts warn that AI is not a perfect solution. Algorithms are only as reliable as the data they are trained on, and profound ethical and regulatory questions remain. Who is accountable if an AI system misses a critical safety issue? Dr. Lindsay Rain cautions, "I can be a powerful assistant, but it cannot replace the judgment of an experienced reviewer, especially when lives are at stake." Meanwhile, the biotech industry itself is evolving at breakneck speed. Visionaries like Vinod Khosla are staking their fortunes on synthetic biology and personalized medicine. Imagine a future where therapies are precisely tailored to your genetic code, where medicine becomes truly individualized, and the line between treatment and cure begins to blur. Khosla Ventures and other forward-thinking investors are pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into startups that promise to disrupt the very foundations of healthcare. But there is a catch. This dazzling future will only become reality if the regulatory system can keep pace. Let's not overlook the human side of this unfolding crisis. Behind every drug approval or delay is an intricate web of scientists, clinicians, regulators, and most importantly, patients and their families. Consider the story of a parent whose child suffers from hereditary angioedema. Every attack brings terror and uncertainty, sometimes ending with a desperate dash to the emergency room. The approval of a pill like Ekterly can mean the difference between a life ruled by fear and one reclaimed by hope. But if regulatory logjams slow down new treatments, that hope is pushed further out of reach, sometimes indefinitely. The situation is similar for patients living with systemic mastocytosis. The recent rise in diagnosis rates for this condition highlights how improved science and awareness are revealing hidden burdens of disease. For these patients, the clinical success of bezuclastinib is not just another statistic, it is a tangible lifeline. Yet, as analysts at SVB Securities and Evaluate Pharma remind us, long-term safety and efficacy data will be crucial before such treatments become standard. The tightrope between rapid access and proven safety has never been thinner. Zooming out, the ripple effects of the FDA's crisis extend into every corner of the healthcare economy. Investors watch regulatory developments with bated breath, knowing that a single delay or recall can wipe out billions in market value and derail promising startups. Companies that can adapt their regulatory and manufacturing strategies, building flexibility into their supply chains, planning for shifting approval timelines, and investing in quality control will have a competitive edge. In the words of a leading venture analyst, today, success in biotech is as much about navigating regulatory turbulence as it is about scientific innovation. For healthcare providers, understanding the FDA's internal struggles is no longer optional. Drug shortages, sudden safety alerts, or abrupt changes in treatment guidelines can all trace their origins back to regulatory bottlenecks, staff shortages, or breakdowns in the review process. Providers must stay proactive, keeping their patients informed and advocating for smarter, more responsive regulation. Patients and their advocates, too, have a vital role to play. In this era of uncertainty, staying informed and involved is more important than ever. Ask your healthcare teams about the status of new treatments, connect with patient advocacy organizations, and make your voice heard with policymakers. As Dr. Mark Riedel puts it, collaboration between regulators, industry, and patient advocates is essential to ensure that innovation does not outstrip safety. Looking ahead, the path forks in two directions. If the FDA can adapt by embracing technological innovation, fighting for smarter budgets, and rebuilding its workforce, Mike could usher in a new golden era of medicine. Imagine a world where gene-editing therapies cure once untreatable diseases, where AI-powered reviews bring safe drugs to market faster, and where regulatory logjams are a relic of the past. But the risks are real and immediate. Without decisive reform, today's warnings could become tomorrow's disasters. We might see slower drug approvals, more frequent recalls, and, most distressingly, dangerous lapses in patient safety. Treatments for rare diseases could languish in regulatory limbo for years. Cancer drugs might be delayed just when they are needed most. A single oversight in manufacturing or data review could have consequences for thousands, or even millions, of lives around the world. At its heart, the FDA stands at a crossroads. The choices made in the next few years will shape not only the future of American healthcare, but also set standards for the entire world. The agency's ability to balance the dual imperatives of innovation and safety will determine whether medical breakthroughs continue to reach those who need them, or whether progress stalls amid bureaucratic inertia and political gridlock. And here's a secret most people never see. Every drug approval or delay is the visible tip of a vast, hidden iceberg. Below the surface lie teams of exhausted scientists, intricate algorithms, international intrigue, and the relentless push and pull of politics and economics. Every breakthrough is a global story of risk, reward, and resilience. Remember, the future of innovation, safety, and hope itself may depend on the answers we find together. The FDA's journey through crisis and transformation is not just a story for policymakers or scientists.